Thank you, Mataji. Let me share the screen. Shall we all start with our prayers?
Okay, Mataji.
Okay, who wants to start?
Can Shubhadra?
Yes, go ahead, Shubhadra.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavani Chato Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna
Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasade Gauranga Vrinda
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Thank you. Very nice. I hope others are also saying the prayers on when they are on mute. Right?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Try to be on videos. I see only Sanskriti on video today. Very good. Hare Krishna, Mukund, Subhadra, Samskriti. I think that's Garima. Kabir, Ramachandra, and Jagdish is here. Very nice. So let's practice this verse. I think by now all of you know this verse, right? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this verse new to anyone here? No, right? Okay. So let's all say it together once, and then if anyone wants to say it separately. Yes?
I don't know the slokam.
Who's that?
This is Garima.
Okay, Garima, you could read it out of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the second verse.
Okay.
Yes, but what we will do, because Garima doesn't know, I will say, then you all repeat, and then you all go one by one. Okay? Just once we will do that. Garima, you try to say it, repeat it, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the verse from Canto 1, Chapter 1. This is the second verse. And this is about the glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are reciting this verse every day before our class. Okay, so please repeat. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo.
Dharma project kaitavatra paramo.
Nirmatsaranam satam.
Nirvatsaranam
Vidyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam.
Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivam
Tapatrayonulanam.
Tapatrayonulanam
Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite.
Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni
Kimva Parairishvara.
Parishvara
Satyarudhyavarudhyate Prakritibhi.
Satyarudhyavarudhyate Prakritihi
Shushrushubhistakshanat.
Shushrushuvistakshana.
Yes. You got it little bit, Garima?
Yes,
At least to some extent.
I can read it properly.
Very nice. Okay. At least to some extent, if you get every day, if you join and recite, then you will memorize it soon. Okay. So anyone wants to recite this? I already see raised hands. Yeah, Suraj, can you go first? You have raised hand.
धर्म प्रोजित कैटवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं मत्तपात्रयो न मूलनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परेरीश्वर सद्यो हृदये अवरुध्यते कृतिभिः शुश्रूषिस्तत्क्षणात्.
Okay, very good. I'll give now 2-3 together, okay, because then we'll have to move to our next session also, right? Or I think not many of you have raised. Okay, I'll give you one only. Akshita, can you recite?
Yes, Mataji. धर्म प्रोजित कैटवत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वैद्यं वास्त्रवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परेरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यते प्रकृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात्.
Very good. Next, who is K? Is that Krishnanayana?
Yes, Mataji.
Go ahead.
धर्म प्रोजित कैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां स्ततां वेद्यं वास्तम् अत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परीरीश्वर सद्यो हृद् अवरुध्यते प्रकृतिभिः शुश्रूभिस्तत्क्षणात्. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very nice. Subhadra Giridhari, do you both want to recite?
Okay, Mataji. Dharma projata Nimatsashadam Satam Vedyam Vashatamatra Siddhavam Tapatrayamulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Va Paririshvara Sadodvidya Avarudayate
Very good. Thank you. Vrunda, do you want to recite?
Yes, Mataji. Dharma projita kaidava paramo nevatsara satam vedyam vastavam astavam sivadam tapam tayo adamulanam bhagavat maha
Munikute
Mahapare Ishvara Tado Hridayo
Varudyate Tra
Avidyate
Tra
Kritivi
Prithvi.
Tadshanat.
Very good. Thank you. Very good. Who is there? Mukund. Yes, Mukund. Go ahead.
Thank you, Akshita, for teaching me.
You're reciting very nice, Vrunda. Okay.
Bhagavate Mahamunikృతే किं वा परेरीश्वरः सद्यो हृदयवरुध्यते प्रकृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात्. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Very nice. Thank you. Okay, Prahlad, do you want to recite?
Dharma projita kaitavota paramo nirvatsaramam satam vedlam vastamam akravasti shindam tapatrayo mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimba Prerishvaraha Sadhyo Hridavarudyate Kritibhir Shishubhishtakshana.
Very nice. Wonderful. Thank you, Prahlad. Anyone else wants to try who did not recite it? Sanskriti, Rai Prahlad, Ramachandra, Khushi, Kabir, Jagdish. Who is ISKCON Baltimore?
Me,
Okay.
Mataji.
Kavya, is that you?
Yes, Mataji. It always shows up like that.
Oh, okay, no problem. So, anyone else wants to recite? Just try. Want to try? Okay, no problem. Then who wants to read the translation? Who did not say anything so far? They can go and read. Okay, Ramchandra, you can say to some of the lines, but then we will give.
Can you highlight the lines I'm missing?
Okay, go ahead until here.
Okay. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold misery.
Very good. Who wants to say translation now? Jagadish, do you want to read?
Sure, Mataji.
Okay, let me highlight it for you.
Okay.
Okay, read it fully. We have other things also to learn.
Okay. This beautiful Bhagavatam complied by the great Vasudeva in his
Maturity
is
sufficient.
sufficient in itself for God realization. Where is the need of any other scriptures? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
Very good. So this is the glory of the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam scripture, how it gives the highest truth, and when we what happens when we attentively and submissively hear it. What happens? The Supreme Lord is established within one's heart. So with this glory of Bhagavatam, now we will move on to our next session. We are reading chapter 15, right? Of Canto 1. If anyone has Bhagavatam with them, you can just open it. Canto 1, take Canto 1, open chapter 15. And then if anyone remembers what we learned so far or what we read, someone please share it. Mukund, do you want to share? You have raised hand. Little louder, please.
That was from before.
Okay, but still, do you want to share? Or anyone else? Go ahead, Mukund, you unmuted.
Oh, Mataji.
No? Okay. Who else? Whatever you remember, just share it. Learn to share.
Mataji.
Yes, Tanvik.
So yesterday we learned about chapter 32 and chapter 32 so verse 32 to verse 34.
Okay. Very nice. From chapter 15, right? Anyone remembers from yesterday? Anything? Because I don't know anything about those verses. Can someone share it with me? Yeah, Mukund.
Yesterday we were seeing about some of Krishna's instructions.
Okay. Anyone else? See, little bit we will revise every day and then we will move on. Okay. So I want to hear points from all of you. At least even if you give 2-3 points, then we can move ahead. And then I'm going to say the revision verse points, then we will move ahead. Anyone else wants to share?
Mataji, I remember from yesterday that Arjuna, he remembers what all had Krishna had helped him. He had helped him from the blazing house of lack, and from the demon Hidim, and from actually exile.
Okay, very nice. So he remembered all that, right? He was remembering some of the verses of chapter 15. So let's see what happens, how it starts, how Arjuna is feeling sad and how he's
Mataji,
feeling.
who is
Yudhishthir
the
also wanted
Hidimba
to go.
demon?
Yudhishthir also wanted to go back to Godhead.
Yes, that was
Godhead.
yesterday. That was from
Mataji,
yesterday.
what is the Hidimba demon?
Hirimba demon? Or is it in this chapter?
No, someone was saying that Krishna helped from Hidimba and like the lack house and all.
Said that? Who said that?
I don't know. I forgot.
Tanvik said that. Tanvik knows about it. Tanvik. Okay. Want to share? I don't remember about that exactly, actually.
Like
Do you want to share, Tanvik?
Mataji, this is Shamagori.
Yes,
Mataji, it was
Shamagori.
from Mahabharata.
Okay. Shamagori, do you want to share something?
Yes. So when Yudhishthira Maharaj couldn't just leave the whole planet. He had to set up everything, right? He had to set up everything and make the next person king, and then only then he could go fire and go back to Godhead after that.
Okay. Okay. Very good. So yeah, we will learn about this now. Quickly, we will read, we will revise. In first 4 verses, it's all mentioned how Arjuna is feeling because Krishna was leaving. And he said that his friend had left him alone. Then what happens? He glorifies in 6th verse. 7 to 26 verses. He remembers all those activities which they could do, they could achieve because of the association of Krishna. And all that he mentions from 7 to 26 verses. And then he remembers what? Krishna's instructions from Bhagavad Gita. Right? And then he became pacified, free from all material contamination. And it rapidly increased his devotion to Krishna. What happened when he remembered the instructions? You can see here, right? It is mentioned from 27 to 29. How he became pacified. Because those instructions were not just for the instructions for the battlefield, right? We know Bhagavad Gita instructions can be, we can always refer to those instructions in any point of life, in any difficulty of life, right? So now that this time Arjun remembers that. And then from 30 to 31, it mentions it looked like Arjuna forgot Krishna's instructions because of his activities and absence, but that was not the case. But he again became lord of his senses. He was freed from the 3 modes of material nature and placed in transcendence. And then what is mentioned, what you heard yesterday, that Yudhishthir also decided to go back home, back to Godhead after hearing about Krishna's return. And then Kunti, next verse, Kunti engaged herself completely in devotional service. These are just one sentences I have mentioned as a revision, but I hope you all remember which you discussed yesterday, right? And 34 verse, Very important. It says Krishna caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, and thus he relieved the burden of the world. This also you read yesterday, how demigods take birth as in the Yadu family, and then they serve the purpose. They work in the mission of Krishna, right? Krishna's mission. They also serve him. So this is all was there until yesterday. Now today's is which verse? 35. We will read the translation first and let's see what is mentioned in verse 35. Khushi, do you want to read verse 35? Okay, Rai Prahlad.
Mataji, can Advait try?
Okay, Advait, wait 1 second. Let's see if Rai Prahlad is reading, otherwise you read it. I don't know where is he there.
Can I read? This is Prahlad.
Okay. Okay. First, Advait said, so we will give it to Advait. Is that okay, Prahlad?
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Advait.
The Supreme Lord relinquishes the body which he manifested to diminish the body of the earth, just like a magician. He relinquishes one body to accept different ones, like the fish incarnation and others. Thank you, Mataji.
Very good. So, the Supreme Lord relinquished the body which he manifested to diminish the burden of the earth. What is meant by relinquish? Anyone knows? Let's go word by word. Then we will understand the meaning correctly. What is meant by relinquish? Anyone had heard this word?
No, Mataji.
Okay, relinquish means give up voluntarily. Krishna gives up the body voluntarily, which he manifested. Why? To diminish the burden of the earth. Means that. Now does it make sense? Now is it clear? He gives up the body voluntarily. Just like a magician, he relinquishes one body to accept different ones. So we know what magician does, right? What all tricks he does. And we really believe in that. But just like magician, which is not true actually. So it looks like that. That's just like that. He relinquishes one body to accept different one. He gives up one body to accept the another body. Like the fish, the example is given fish incarnation. Matsyavatar, we all know that story, right? So the Lord in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that Lord is described as Amrita or deathless because he has no material body. Like we all have this material body, right? Krishna is deathless. He doesn't die, right? Like he gives up the body voluntarily because he has no material body. And we all know Krishna has this transcendental body, right? Basically, Krishna and his body, there is no difference. Krishna's body and Krishna himself are the same. So, this is what is mentioned here. Krishna, he gives up his body. And there is one more thing is mentioned in Brihat Vaishnava Tantra. This is one scripture. It is clearly mentioned that anyone who considers the form of Lord Krishna to be made of material energy, like how ours is made of material energy, right? Must be ostracized by all means. What is ostracized here? Anyone has had heard this word also? So what when we read something in scripture, when we come across some word which meaning we don't know, you try to find out that meaning, then the meaning becomes more clear to us. So what do you think it is mean by this ostracized? Anyone had heard this? What Prabhupada is trying to say here?
No, Mataji, I've never.
He must be that person here it's mentioned, okay, that anyone who considers, if somebody thinks that Krishna's body is also material, made of material energy, that person should be excluded from the society by all means. That person should be excluded. That is mean by ostracized here. And if by chance the face of such an infidel is seen, by any chance if you get to see that person, then what you should do? one must clean himself by jumping in the river with his clothing. You should purify himself. If you come across a person who thinks that Krishna's body is material body, many people think that, right? They think that Krishna has taken a body like us. Actually, our body is like Krishna's body, right? People think.
Mataji, then every day when we go to school, we'll have to take a bath at school because there's a ton of people who are like that.
Okay, you can just take mentally. Okay, but this is how Prabhupada strongly mentions, he strongly mentions this point here. This is what we should, because that's not true, right? So just purify yourself immediately when you come across or such thought, if somebody is speaking like that, or if you get to see such person, because Krishna's body is not made of this material energy like ours. So here Prabhupada mentions about magicians, right? So what magicians do? See here, like they sometimes show that they have cut the body into two pieces. Then sometimes they just try to take out a bunny from the hat or something like that. So many tricks they do, right? Have you all seen magic
Yes,
tricks?
Mataji.
Yeah,
I've
what all
seen.
you
But
have
I
seen?
saw a musician in my school, and he even had a long tongue.
What, you had a long?
He had a long.
The magician guy.
You had a
He
long?
had a long tongue.
He was pretending he did a magic trick and he made his tongue really long.
Oh, okay.
Mataji, I know both of these tricks. This card trick is where like you take a knife and you turn it backwards and you saw your hand. Okay, but that other side is blunt. Okay, so but it'll look like you are still cutting your hand.
Oh, this
Okay,
one you're
with
talking.
one of the bread knives. Okay, and then you have to take a card that has that hole. Okay, and then you have to put it through. Okay, then it's like your hand is getting cut, but really the card has the hole.
Oh, the card has a hole. That's what I was thinking. How did it?
Yeah,
I didn't know
Mataji,
about this
the
one. I
similar
didn't know.
trick.
I was thinking the same.
Mataji, the similar trick, there's one with the knife. Like the card trick, there's one similar that's with the knife. So that trick is that, so with the knife, there's one hole in the knife, but they show the knife to the audience, right? So you can't see the hole because there's like this layer that goes inside the knife.
Ah, yeah, it just goes inside with the touch of
So
our
right
stick,
when you chop your hand, it looks like your hand's getting chopped, but that layer, it goes inside and your hand pushes it in.
But the card, is actually, there's actually a hole inside of it. So first they cover it halfway, like with their hand, so no one can see like the fully card, like pretending it's a real card, and then they put it in.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I didn't
what
know
I'm
about
wondering.
this. I didn't know about the card one, but this one I got to know recently, and I used to think, how do they even do that? But do you see the trick? There are two people here.
No, I do not get it.
See, the one person is here, and half of his body is hidden here, and the other person is here. Actually, this is not the same person. This is different.
people with
These two are different people. And that's what trick they show.
Mataji, like for the second man who's putting his head in that box thingy, he might not get oxygen and he's in a difficult position.
No, but I think they must be doing something about it, because they are doing this trick for so many, I know, just days and years and all.
Mataji, they probably have some holes in the box for him to breathe.
Yeah, right. Who was that? Who said that?
This is Saimrita, Mataji.
Oh, you're joining first time?
I've joined a few times and then skipped some classes. So
okay, nice to have you and seeing you first time.
Yeah, yesterday my sister joined.
Okay.
Mataji,
yeah.
You see that half cutting thing
Hat.
with two people?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is not real. They just they made it
No,
look
that
like
thing
that
is real.
one person was cut and they made it cut in half,
Mm.
but it but for the other person, the second person whose head is inside, they just made the exact same colored pant as the person they did on the outside, so that like doesn't really make sense. They did that like a magician came to a temple for Janmashtami, and
Hmm.
then like, he did some tricks. So he took like one kid volunteered. So he made her go and sit like make herself go like this inside a box, and then like it's the exact same thing. He like split it apart, and I couldn't understand like how like both halves were like the same, like the
Mm.
same, and there was really nothing. It was like he was just cut in half, so I couldn't
Ah,
really tell like what was happening.
I know, and sometimes we believe in that. But it's mentioned here, right? Factually, the magician himself is neither burnt to ashes, nor cut into pieces, nor is he dead or unconscious at any stage. Similarly, Lord also has his eternal forms of unlimited variety. Although it looks like that, Krishna also has his eternal forms of unlimited variety. Prabhupada gives the example of magician, how sometimes we believe some tricks of magicians. It's like that. But the Lord has his eternal forms of unlimited variety. Unlimited variety means his different incarnations. And the example which Prabhupada gives here is Matsya fish incarnation, as was exhibited within this verse, is also one. So, what is mentioned here? The idea is that the Lord does not create the fish incarnation, He does not create it. He eternally has that form and it appears and disappears. So, each form appears for some specific purpose. You all know that, right? There is a specific purpose why each form of the Lord appears. It is not created by the Lord, like fish incarnation. It's not created. It appears and then disappears after it serves the particular purpose. So you might all know this Matsyavatar story, right? I have still mentioned it here, but what we will do, we will first go through this verse, and then when we get time, we will go through the story. Okay. So there are two more Bhagavad Gita verses. Those are mentioned in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. We will read these translations. These are very nice verses. Who did not get a chance to read? Prahlad wanted to read, right?
Can Subhadra have a chance?
Can I read?
Who did not get a chance?
Prahlad?
Can Subhadra?
Oh yeah.
I didn't get a chance.
Okay.
Can I please do it?
Mataji, I actually didn't get a chance to read.
Okay. Those who recited the verses and those who also read the translation. Apart from that, if anyone wants to read, please tell me that you did not get a chance at all.
Can I read Mataji? This
Can I read? This is Mukam.
this is
Mataji, can I read? This is Shubhadra.
Mataji, I thought
Prahlad
wanted to go first. Lord until latest.
Can I read Mataji? This is Prahlad.
Okay,
Can I read,
Prahlad, go ahead.
Mataji? This is Shubhadra.
Mataji, this is Suraj. Can I read?
Can I read because I had
Okay, we have some more thing also to read. So Prahlad, go ahead, Prahlad. Then I will give you.
Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. Should I read the second one?
No, this is good. Thank you, Prahlad. So we have already heard a lot about impersonalists, right? What they think that Krishna is impersonal, he has no form, and he has assumed this personality so that he could come here. So this is what they believe, and what is mentioned about them in the translation. What Krishna calls them, unintelligent men. They don't know about Krishna perfectly. They don't know that Krishna is there in the higher spiritual world. in the Golok, and he has his leelas going on eternally. They don't know any of this. So due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So this is verse very relevant to this verse from Bhagavatam. So this verse is mentioned by Prabhupada in this purport. 25 is also similar, kind of similar. We will read that one now. Subhadra, you wanted to read, right?
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, what shall I read? Oh, no.
25. Yeah.
I am never manifested to the foolish and therefore do not know that I'm unborn and
Yeah.
fadable.
So what
Mataji,
Krishna
can
says.
I read it next?
Hare
Okay.
Krishna, Vrunda Mataji.
Yes. Oh, we have.
Mataji, I
Okay.
sent you the message, Mataji, in the chat.
Okay.
Back to Godhead link and the message also.
Okay, we don't have cooking today.
No, you should take care. I sent you the link also.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, got it.
Got
Yes,
it, Mataji?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
No problem. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. So this verse is also relevant. We'll just finish it in 5 minutes and then we'll move to our back to Godhead reading today. Then everyone will get a chance to read in that. So here Krishna says, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. Krishna never shows or displays himself to such foolish and unintelligent. They tend to go away from Krishna. Krishna also goes away from them. He never manifests to such foolish. For them, I am covered by my internal potency. Krishna is always covered for them by his internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. This is about those who don't believe in Krishna's eternal form. So now we have 36 also. We will read this quickly. I don't think we'll have time to cover this story. So let's read this quickly and then we'll move to back to Godhead. Let's see what is mentioned in verse 36 now. Krishna Nena, do you want to read? Oh, who wanted to read? Actually, Shama Gauri, right? Who asked me actually?
Mataji, was me who asked.
Mataji, it was me also who asked.
Okay, Krishna Nena.
Can I ask Dr. Krishna Naina, can I read Mataji? Mataji, can I please read because I had my hand for a long time?
Yes, okay, Kavya. I'll give you and then Krishna Nena.
Mataji,
Yes, Shama Gauri, I will give after you after Krishna Nena and then Kavya, okay?
Okay.
Go ahead, Krishna Nena.
Should I read from When the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Yes, translation.
When the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, left this earthly planet in his self-same form, from that very day, Kali, who had already partially appeared, became fully manifest to create inauspicious conditions for those who are endowed with poor fund of knowledge. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes. So what happens to those who have poor fund of knowledge? Here it's mentioned that when Krishna, he left his this earthly planet in his same form. From that very day, Kali, you know that, right? Kali Yuga. Kali personified, who had already partially appeared. When Kali had already partially appeared, anyone remembers? When was that? We already read this.
Mataji, it appeared after Krishna left his world.
Okay, but it had already appeared partially. And who could sense that? Who could see that?
Yudhishthir.
Yes.
Yudhishthira.
Yes. Very good. King Yudhishthir, he could feel some inauspicious omens, right? That time it had already appeared partially, now became fully manifest to create inauspicious conditions for those who are endowed with a poor fund of knowledge. So Kali Yuga creates inauspicious conditions for those who have this poor fund of knowledge. So what happens to those who have this knowledge that is mentioned in Purport by Srila Prabhupada? Let's read that. Are you all with me? Are you all following it?
Yes,
What is this
Mataji.
verse about? Yes? If you don't understand anything, let me know. Okay?
Yes, Mataji.
Shamagori, do you want to read the purport?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. The influence of Kali can be enforced only on those who are not fully developed in God consciousness. One who can neutralize the effects of Kali by keeping oneself fully under the supreme care of the personality of Godhead.
Thank you. Very nice. What one understood from this? Can someone explain in their own words? Simply, in simple words? On whom Kali Yuga works on whom, and it is not.
Mataji, can I say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mataji, can I say?
Can I say?
Okay, you both can share. Shamagori, go first.
Okay, so what I like, if there is like a person, and if you get attracted to passion,
Okay.
that means like Kali is like the mood of passion, and and if anyone serves the Lord Kali, they are going to be like passion mood.
Okay, now who else wanted to share? Thank you, Shamagori. Who else wanted to share?
Me, Mataji. I want to say.
Who's Vaishnavi?
No, Mataji. Giridhari.
Oh, Shubhatra, Giridhari, okay. Vaishnavi, Shamagori only, right? Shamagori has name as Vaishnavi also. Yeah. Okay.
Mataji, I was saying that when the influence of Kali didn't come, because when Krishna was present in the Dwapar Yuga, nothing was like Kali cannot come to the earth and affect its power through all the people of its minds. So when Krishna left the mortal world called the earthly world, the Kali Yuga came, like when Parikshit Maharaj was seeing a Shudra like as a Kali. So he did that bad things. That's why when Parikshit wants to kill him, the Shudra said that, or Kali Yuga said that Brahmaji did this. So when Lord Krishna came here, so I cannot come. So when the Kali Yuga cycle came, he has to come. The cycle.
Okay, very nice, Giridhari. Thank you. Here it's mentioned that the effects of Kali Yuga will be and can be enforced upon those who are not fully developed in Krishna consciousness. They will feel the effects of Kali Yuga, but one can neutralize those effects by keeping oneself fully under the supreme care of personality of Godhead. Because it's mentioned here, the age of Kali had started after the battle of Kurukshetra, but it could not exert its influence because Krishna was there, right? Krishna did not leave immediately after the battlefield, right? So even when the Kali Yuga had started after this battle of Kurukshetra, people, they could not feel this influence because of the presence of Krishna. But when Lord left this earthly planet in his own transcendental body, and as soon as he left, the symptoms of the Kali Yuga, as were envisioned by Maharaj Yudhishthir prior to Arjuna's arrival from Dwarka, began to manifest. So it's what do you understand from this? So even when Krishna is not present, if we have him in our hearts always, we will not feel the effects of Kali Yuga. Right? Like how Krishna was present even when Kali had started, ensured just after the, so even when it had started after the battle of Kurukshetra, they could not feel because Krishna was present. Similarly, if we have Krishna present in our hearts, we will not feel those effects of Kali Yuga. Do you understand this? Yes?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Yes,
So like
Mataji.
I mentioned, like Yudhishthira had already started to guess, right? He already had started feeling those bad omens. But as we have already explained, the Lord left our side just as when the sun sets, it is out of our sight. So like how the sun sets, just like that, Krishna also disappears out of our sight. But we know sun is there somewhere, right? Even when sun
Mataji?
sets, we know that sun is there, right? Krishna is always there. Just
Mataji?
like that. Yes.
Mataji, I was saying that then why did Krishna left the earth? Like,
Because his purpose was
His
fulfilled.
duty was
His
done.
leela was over, so he just
Came
left.
for his purpose.
oh, okay, Mataji.
His duty was done, so he just left because
Yeah, his purpose was fulfilled, so he left, and then Kali Yuga started. But like how people could devotees can even when Kali Yuga had started, actually it says after the battle of Kurukshetra, but they could not feel the effect because Krishna was still present after the battle of Kurukshetra. Similarly, if we have Krishna present in our hearts, we will also not feel the effects of Kali Yuga. Okay, so this we will stop here. Today's class, yeah, I don't think we have time to say the story. Then we will move to the back to Godhead reading. I will just open that. Give me a minute. You all can, 1 second. Let me lower your hands. You all can raise your hands again so that I will give you all in sequence. Yeah, you can raise your hands again. Those who want to read. Everyone needs to raise hand who all want to read, okay? Just give me a minute. I'm going to open that. Okay, it's here. Okay, Mukund, can you read first? Let's read the title also.
Yes, Mataji. The title?
Yes.
Okay, Mataji. A lecture by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness.
This is one lecture by Prabhupada. Let's read it.
The material world appears like a cloud, covering a small portion of the spiritual sky. The Vedic scriptures explain that although the material world undergoes perpetual creation and annihilation, the spiritual world is eternally manifest. In the self-luminous spiritual world, the highest planet is Goloka Vrindavan, the lotus-like abode of Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There, Lord Krishna enjoys loving exchanges with his pure devotees.
Yes. Okay. So there is a verse. Parastasmatu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yah sa sarveshu bhuteshu nasyatsu na vinashyati. Let's read after that. This is from Bhagavad Gita 8.20. Who is next? Tanvi, can you read? Translation.
This the translation under the verse.
Here. Verse I read already. You go ahead with the translation.
There is another eternal nature which is transcendental to manifested and non-manifested matter. It is the supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, the power remains as it is. Bhagavad Gita 8.20. Thank you, Mata.
Very good. Akshita, can you read next paragraph?
Yes, Mataji.
Go ahead.
Yes, Mataji. From where? From we, right?
Yes.
Okay. We cannot calculate the length and breadth of even this universe. Yet there are millions and millions of universes like this one within the material sky. And above this material sky, there is another sky, which is called the spiritual sky. In that sky, all the planets are eternal, and life is eternal also. We cannot know these things by our material calculations, so we must take this information from Bhagavad Gita.
Yes. So you're all listening, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Because I want you all to share your realizations after this reading on the group. Okay? Like how you always do. Dhruva, can you read next one? One second. Let me just. Dhruva, are you there?
I don't think he's there.
Huh?
I don't think he's there.
Okay, he has raised his hand.
He's
Okay,
not in his chat.
Yeah.
No problem. Okay, Ramachandra, you go ahead.
Like from this material?
Yes.
Okay. This material manifestation is only 1/4 of the whole manifestation, both spiritual material. In other words, 3/4 of the total manifestation is beyond the covered material sky. The material covering is millions and millions of miles thick, and only after penetrating it we can enter the open spiritual sky. Here Krishna uses the word bhava anyaha, which means another nature. In other words, there is another spiritual nature besides the material one we ordinarily experience.
Bhava anyaha. Yes. So what is given here? It's so interesting, right? The material manifestation is how much of the whole manifestation? Only
1/4.
Only 1/4. And then this is millions and millions of miles thick. And only after penetrating it, we can enter into the spiritual sky. You can imagine how huge it is, right? And then it means that there is another spiritual nature besides the material nature. Okay, so this material nature itself, we feel it's so huge, so big, right? But this is just 1/4. Okay, we can try to discuss each para like this so that you can share your realizations in the video. Shamagori, can you read? You're next.
Mataji?
Do you want to read?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Which one should I read, Mataji?
It's here.
Okay.
Everyone pay attention, okay? Which part you have to read?
But even now we are experiencing the spiritual as well as the material nature. How is that? Because we ourselves are a combination of matter and spirit. We are spirit, and only as long as we are within the material body does it move. As soon as we are out of the body, it is as good as a stone. So since we can all personally perceive the
there is spirit as well as matter. We should also know that there is a spiritual world as well.
Yeah. Anyone wants to share anything about this? Even now we are experiencing spiritual as well as material. But are we in spiritual now?
No.
Are we in the spiritual world to experience the spiritual?
No.
Then how is that? How we experience that? What is mentioned here?
Krishna
Because we are spirit, right? And it is moving in the material body. But as soon as we are out of the body, it is as good as stone. So since we can all personally perceive that there is spirit as well as matter, we should also know that there is a spiritual world as well. As long as we understand that there is spirit as well as matter, then we know that there is spiritual world also, and that's how we can experience, we can learn, and can understand that there is spiritual as well as material nature. Got it? Was it easy? Was it understandable?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes? Okay. Krishna Naina, can you read? Are you there, Krishna Naina? She has raised hand. Okay, if she has locked, if she's not there, who else? Advait, do you want to read? Rishita, okay, Rishita wants to read. Okay, go ahead.
Mataji, where should I read? Like in the 7th or?
Yes, correct.
In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna discusses the spiritual and material natures. The spiritual nature is superior, and the material nature is inferior. In this material world, the material and spiritual natures are mixed. But if we go beyond this material nature altogether, if we go to the spiritual world, we will find only the superior spiritual nature. This is the information we get in the
8th chapter. Okay, very good.
Mataji.
Thank you. Who wants to read? Who did not read? Next.
Shubhadra.
Okay, Shubhadra, go ahead.
Mataji.
Here.
Okay. It is not impossible.
Not possible.
It is not possible to understand these things by experimental knowledge. The scientists can see millions and millions of stars through their telescope, but they cannot approach them. Their moons are insufficient. What to speak of other planets? They cannot approach even the moon planet, which is the nearest. Therefore, we should try to realize how incapable we are of understanding God and God's kingdom by experimental knowledge.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Shubhadra. Who wants to read next?
Mataji, can Krishna Naina read?
Yes, Krishna Naina, yeah. I called your name. 1 second.
And science and getting understanding this way is not possible. It's foolish to try. Rather, we have to understand God by hearing Bhagavad Gita. There is no other way. No one can understand who his father is by experimental knowledge. One has to simply believe his mother when she says, "Here is your father." Similarly, one has to believe Bhagavad Gita, then one can get all the information. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Now, who's willing to read? Advait, do you want to read?
Nonetheless, while there is no possibility of experimental knowledge about God, if one becomes advanced in Krishna consciousness, he will realize God directly. For example, through realization, I am firmly convinced of whatever I am saying here about Krishna. I am not speaking blindly. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, thank you. Um, did you read Mukund? Is Kavya there? She wanted to read. Kavya is there? No, okay, she's not here.
Can Samskriti read?
Oh yeah, Sanskriti, can go ahead.
Similarly, anyone can realize God. Swayam eva ada direct knowledge of God will be revealed to anyone who sticks to the process of Krishna consciousness. Such a person will actually understand, yes, there is a spiritual kingdom where God resides and I have to go there. I must prepare to go.
Okay. Thank you. Suraj, do you want to read?
Sure, Mataji. Which part? Before going to another country, one may hear so much about it, but when he actually goes of Krishna consciousness,
Goes there,
he understands everything directly. Similarly, if one takes up the process of Krishna consciousness, one day he will understand God and the kingdom of God directly.
And
the whole problem of his life will be solved.
Yes. How nicely Prabhupada says, right? When we are going somewhere, we try to learn about that country, right? And when we go there, we actually get to know many things. Similarly, when we take this Krishna consciousness, we will understand God and the kingdom of God directly. And then what happens? Whole problem of life will be solved. Okay. Who did not read now? Sai Amrita, do you want to read?
Okay, Mataji. Here Krishna uses the word Sanatanaha to describe Sanatanaha to describe that spiritual kingdom. The material nature has a beginning and an end, but the spiritual nature has no beginning and no end. How is that? We can understand by a simple example. Sometimes when there is a snowfall, we see that the whole sky is covered by a cloud.
Okay. Thank you. Who wants to read next? Prahlad, do you want to read?
Yes, Mataji, which one?
Go ahead until then.
Okay. But actually, that cloud is covering only an insignificant part of the whole sky because we are very minute. However, when a cloud covers a few hundred miles of the sky, to us, the sky looks completely covered. Similarly, this entire material manifestation, called the Mahat Tattva, is like a cloud covering an insignificant portion of the spiritual sky. And just as when the cloud clears, we can see the bright sunlight sky. So when we get clear of this covering of matter, we can see the original spiritual sky.
Thank you. Who wants to read next? We will just read to some 2-3 more minutes. Okay. Everyone got a chance? Khushi, Jagadish have not read.
Mataji, I'll read again if nobody's going to.
Mataji, can I read?
Yes, Jagadish, 1 second. Here, go ahead.
Okay. Furthermore, just as a cloud has a beginning and an end, the material nature also has a beginning and an end. Our material body also has a beginning and
And end.
and an end. Our body simply exists for some time. It takes birth, grows, stays for some time, gives off some byproducts, dwindles, then vanishes. These are the 6 transformational of transformations of the body. Similarly, every material manifestation undergoes these 6 transformations. Thus, at the end, this whole material world will be vanished.
Vanquish.
Mataji,
Yes.
I have to leave, Mataji. It's almost time for me to have dinner.
So you what do you want to do? You want to leave or you want to read it?
I need to leave because we're
doing, no problem.
We're doing kirtan for the Lord.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for joining, Subhadra. We are also ending in 2 minutes. Let's just read this one. I'm just checking who all did not read. I think everyone got a chance. Okay, everyone has got a chance. Okay, so we will stop here. So try to share your realizations. Okay, try to share your video on the group. Okay, so we will stop here today. Thank you all for joining.
Ma'am, what did you
next week? Yes.
Ma'am, what did you just say? Share the video in the group. Like what video?
You share your realizations when you speak. Take a video of your realizations and then share that video on the group. So you are there on the group. Your mom or your father, somebody is
on the group.
Okay, so you record it on his phone and share it. What you understood from this. We will also share this link if you want to reread it and then share your realization. Okay.
Mataji, my mom does not have the link.
For this article which we read now?
Yeah.
That link I'm going to share on
Mataji, the Govinda group.
Okay. So which group is she then in Damodar group? Is she in the Damodar group?
Yes, she has a Damodar group.
Okay, so on that we will share a link for Govinda group. So she can join if she wants to join.
Okay, Mataji.
And there you share your video, okay? Everyone, please try to do that, okay?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Another group?
Huh?
Not like my dad is only joining like
Govindas.
Yes,
that is correct for you. Yeah, another group is for younger kids. Damodar, it's called Damodar group. That's what I was asking him. But you are in the you can share on Govinda group. Okay. So let's stop here. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrunda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to all of you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.